I don't recognize this next anchor. I feel like I know him from somewhere.
He's been missing.
He has been missing. Let's welcome back to the table the incredible friend that is Glenn Weinzimmer. He has been a South Florida advocate for over 30 years, raising awareness and more than $16 million. That's million. Okay, for the HIV/AIDS community for 20 plus years. He's also a travel director and corporate events planner. Glenn, the Joyride 2025 rolls from Orlando to St. Pete on November 21st. Tell me what's happening out.
Thanks for asking. It's great to be back as always. I've missed this platform. Florida's successful cycling fundraiser is shaking things up in 2025. Get ready for an exciting new adventure on November 21st through 22nd. Cyclists from all over the state and even the country will be pedaling a 2-day, 165-mile journey from its new location, Orlando to St. Petersburg. This marks a fresh start in the fight against HIV/AIDS, building on the success of the Smart Ride, which journeyed from Miami to Key West for 2 decades. The Joyride is organized by FAB Adventures, Inc. In its second year, the ride will kick off with a 100-mile trek from Orlando to Lutz on day 1, followed by 65 beautiful miles into downtown St. Petersburg on day 2. All the money raised by the participants will go to the agencies Broward House in Fort Lauderdale, Compass in West Palm Beach, Empath Partners in Care in the St. Petersburg area, Miracle of Love in Orlando, and Pridelines in Miami. They've got an amazing volunteer crew to support all the cyclists, along with fueling stations packed with food and snacks along the way. So get ready for the Joyride 2025 to continue its legacy of community compassion and connection across Florida. You can find more information and join at thejoyridefl.org. This is very personal, obviously, to me, because I started the ride, the original ride, the Smart Ride, 22 years ago. Wow. And so, when we stopped the Smart Ride 2 years ago, the agencies jumped in and started their own event called the Joyride, and they're following the same mission and everything to make a difference. I think this year is extremely important with everything happening politically in our world. Bringing people together under one umbrella is powerful. So many people feel alone or lost, and they don't know what they can do to contribute. They don't know how to move forward. When you take 500 to 700 people and you put them in a room and they see there are other people just like them, it empowers you. I think it's great that they're leaving from Orlando, right after this recent attacks on Pulse and the sidewalks and the rainbows coming down. Yep. I think, that's all so powerful. And, when we look across the world with AMFAR being defunded to some degree, with USAID being defunded, the Ryan White Foundation's funding is in question, and what local organizations are having trouble getting money. How do we look back now and say, are we going to repeat what happened in the early 80s? Because if the funding's not there and the medications aren't there for people to take PrEP and the like, where do we end up? Governments in South Africa and stuff, it's the richer people in South Africa, it's the politicians that are getting sick. It has nothing to do with being gay in that case. And so you destabilize these countries, and then who comes in to step in after they fall? So, the U.S. has got to be really careful right now about what we do and where we pull our funding from, because we can not only have a crisis again here, but we can have a crisis across the world.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a huge lover of the Smart Ride. When you were a part of it, I was able to be a cheerleader, right, at a lot of the stops, because I wasn't going to ride a bike, right?
No question. You didn't even have to say it.
I know, you knew it. You're like, you're going to cheer, aren't you?
Did they make bike heels? I mean, bike heels.
Oh, bike heels. Well, somebody should get on that.
They have. In California on the ride, there was there was a man that rode with 6-inch heels, and he had clips on the bottom of them. It was a chunky heel. And so he was able to clip in and ride on Red Dress Day
like a wedge.
And he probably looked real sexy.
He did. His ankles were phenomenal.
Let's talk about it's a new route this year, right? I mean, but it's a beautiful route. St. Pete is just so beautiful, and the sunsets are like remarkable. Yeah. So I mean, I know is it less bumpy than the last trek that we had going down to Key West? What's better about it? It's different than the ride to Key West. First of all, the ride to Key West happened 21 times. So already, how many people want to keep making the same thing? They've made that challenge. They beat that challenge. But it's been interesting because a lot of people were aging out of the Smart Ride, and some of them have chosen to get back involved this year because it is a new route and it's brand new. And the routes and the
the foliage and stuff is completely different the further north you go. So the route leaving Orlando, once you get out of the city proper, gets really nice and very country, and there's some wonderful paths up that way, and it'll take them into St. Pete. So I think it's a good way to revitalize and re-energize, I guess is the right word. And I think would be really cool, I talked to them about it, is getting the Bright Line, which starts in Miami. Those who are riding from Key West can get to Miami. Then the riders of Miami can join them on a car or two on Bright Line, and then they make the stops in all of the cities where there's an agency and ride it all the way up to Orlando as a group and sort of, begin the fun and the connections.
And one of the other great things about going more north for that is it's engaging other communities, and it's engaging more directly with some of the other organizations. But still,
absolutely.
Although there's one, Orlando, the Miracle one.
Miracle of Love, and then St. Pete. But
so that's really great for that.
Yeah, well, because sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm so sorry, Glenn. And are all these organizations that will benefit from the Joyride, are they all the same organizations that have been part of it before? Because I mean, we love Compass here at Queer News Tonight. We adore Broward House, of course. Empath Partners. I mean, those folks, they're
amazing.
Miracles.
Her name is Joy, ironically, as if they named it after her. And she's like, I told them not to name it the Joyride. And I was like, all right, well, you lost that battle.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, and there is a way to still support. We can still donate if we can't go on the ride.
Right, you can still donate. Make it, if you go to their website, Joyride FL or the Joyride FL, you'll be able to make a donation to a specific person or just in general to the organization.
There are teams that ride
Right. And there's a lot of teams coming out of South Florida. But back to your point about being in the north, the nice part about that too is there are a lot of organizations that are underfunded in the northern part of the state that we could never reach out to just because of distance. They couldn't come down to be a full-fledged participating agency. But as they move forward now, if they look to join other agencies, there's lots that's happening in a very Republican part of our state where funding's even harder to get in minority communities. So you have a larger black presence and stuff up in that area, and their churches are preaching, the abstinence, and they're not really doing the education. So here's an opportunity to raise awareness in a part of the state that doesn't normally see it.
Perfect.
Well, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all at the Joyride 2025 on November 21st through 22nd. And that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.